From the latest news to your favorite tunes, we've got your back morning, night, and afternoon. Join our family, connect with your crew. Kings FM 88.5, just for you.
A pleasant good morning from Royal Communications Incorporated, and welcome to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes of Igor Ballon's incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Friday, July 4th, 2025. My name is Cornelius Johnson, presenting this early morning edition of the program Story Stopping the Headlines. University of Liberia launches first ever master and PhD programs in gender and security studies. UL President Dr. Lydia Mapayan says the program is designed to enhance greater impact in gender-sensitive security practice. House of Representatives ratify ECOWAS treaty on the establishment of Dakar-Abidjan corridor to boost interconnectivity, economic growth, and cross-border cooperation. Civil society advocacy platform of Liberia calls for reparation of survivors of the 1979 Red Riot and families of Liberia's civil war victims as means of holistic national healing and reconciliation. Away from home now, Nigeria's two main opposition leaders have joined a new political party to challenge President Bola Tinubu and his ruling party in the next election. Ethiopia says it has completed building a mega dam on the Blue Nile that has long been a source of tension with Egypt and Sudan. The news bulletin voices of the newsmakers are all packaged in this edition of the program. We take a very short break to be right back. Thanks for being there and welcome back. The University of Liberia College of Gender Studies and Interdisciplinary Research College has officially launched its Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy programs in Gender and Security Studies. The Master's and PhD programs in Gender and Security Studies will provide opportunities for students and professionals in these sectors to advance their careers through rigorous academic research at the state-run university. Speaking at the event, UL President Dr. Lydia Mapayan emphasized the significant role women play in peace building and security in Liberia. According to her, the programs will empower Liberian women, gain greater knowledge, and make impacts, which will immensely contribute to gender-sensitive security practice. At the same time, Professor Amer Abubakar Odi, Professor of Gender and Security Studies, who served as inaugural lecturer, said despite efforts through legislation, National Action Plan, bridging the gap remains a major problem in several parts of Africa. Speaking on behalf of President Joseph Boakai, Dr. Augustine Conan, senior political advisor to the Liberian leader, expressed the president's deepest excitement in the newly launched master and PhD programs in gender and security studies. The event brought together several officials of government authorities, and that's several officials of government authorities of the University of Liberia, partners, among others. The House of Representatives has ratified the ECOWAS Treaty of the establishment of Dakar-Abidjan corridor to enhance regional integration, infrastructure development, and trade facilitation within West Africa. According to the House Bureau of Press and Public Affairs, the decision taken on Thursday followed the presentation of a comprehensive report by the Joint Committee on Transport, Public Works, and Rural Development and Judiciary adding that these committees have carefully reviewed the provisions of the treaty and recommended its ratification. The ECOWAS Treaty on the establishment of the Dakar-Abidjan corridor will boost interconnectivity, economic growth, and cross-border cooperation among ECOWAS member states, including Liberia. The Bureau of Press and Public Affairs of the House of Representatives stated that in the course of its review, the Joint Committee also drew attention to the United Nations Convention on Psychotropic Substances, which has been ratified by over 180 countries. In furtherance, it added that while Liberia is a signatory to this convention, it has not formally ratified the related protocol, but stressed the importance of the protocol in protecting public health, addressing illicit trafficking, and combating the use or abuse of controlled substances, including cocaine, marijuana, heroin, and narcotin. The civil society advocacy platform of Liberia says the real barrier of Presidents William R. Tubman and Samuel K. Doe be must not be limited to political symbolism, but rather extended to 150 people who were killed during the 1979 West riot and the estimated 250,000 others who died as a result of the Liberian Civil War. The platform's Secretary General Adaman Dempster said survivors from the West riot and victims of the Liberian Civil War are still bearing the scars of the conflict with all reparation paid to them. Addressing a press conference in Pinzio outside Monrovia on Thursday, Dempster noted that reconciliation should not only be limited to the political elites, adding that people who suffer under the leaderships of some of these past presidents have not been given justice, no reparation, and they remain in mass graves in several parts of Liberia. The civil society advocacy human rights platform Secretary General encouraged President Bouaka to ensure that his commitment for national healing should be holistic, thereby considering reparation for those who were made crippled and others who are still carrying bullets in their bodies. A faith-based human rights organization, the Faith and Justice Network, has become a two-day deliberation on taxation, economic ethics, and justice for religious leaders from the Mano River Union in Liberia. The deliberation, which is held under the theme Reshaping Financial and Economic Ethics, a Transformative Approach to Justice, Reparation, and Accountability in the Mano River Basin, brought together over 50 religious leaders from Guinea, Sierra Leone, Africa, and host country Liberia. In remarks, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Faith and Justice Network, Bishop Samuel Quia, termed the gathering as a commitment aimed at challenging the entrenched systems of corruption, tax injustice, and illicit financial flows, as well as deep economic inequality that continue to undermine peace and development in the Mano River area. According to Bishop Quia, religious leaders will no longer remain on the margin of fiscal debates and will now begin speaking out on how national budgets reflects moral priorities, how taxes are structured, and the impact on the poor. Delivering the keynote speech, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Monrovia, Gabriel Jubwe, encouraged policymakers to ensure that taxes payment in members' countries of the Mara River Union benefit everyone, regardless of status in the society. The Bishop of the Catholic Church said should policymakers making more money should pay more contribution to taxes in order to ensure that the poor do not bear the cost of paying the rich in the Mano River countries. The deliberation is expected to end this Friday, with Finance Minister Augustin Kafouin launching the campaign on taxes and delivering the closing statement. The Fifth Judicial Circuit Court in Grand Cape County has imposed a 60 years imprisonment on a Sierra Leonean national, Ali Mami Konen, that's Ali Mami Conted, age 23, for smuggling coach into the country valued at 20,000 United States dollars. Defendant Conted was adjudged guilty following month-long bench trial before the Grand Cape County resident George Usman Fekas announced his 60 years imprisonment consistent with law. George Feka's July 2, 2025 final judgment, according to our judicial correspondent, claimed that defendant Content failed miserably to convince the court of his innocence to three offenses contained in the indictment. Judge Feka's ruling maintained that his failure to establish his innocence for the crimes possession, importation, and trafficking of controlled drug and substances led to his 60-year sentence as provided by Section 14.89 and Section 2.2 of the Drug Law of Liberia. Our judicial correspondent revealed that each of these offenses warrant 20 years each, thereby bringing the total imprisonment to 60 years as provided by law. The 23-year-old Sierra Leonean national will complete his 60 years imprisonment at the age of 83 at the Rabosport prison in Grand Cape County. A 43-year-old gold digger has been sentenced to 50 years in prison at the 14th Judicial Circuit Court in Riverside County for raping two underage girls believed to be 9 and 11 years old. Defendant Sarah Bunder's 50 years imprisonment, according to our judicial correspondent, comes as a result of the trial jurors' unanimous guilty verdict against the defendant. Announcing the sentence on Thursday, according to our judicial correspondent, George Wisser termed the action of the defendant Bunder as courteous. The 43-year-old gold digger will complete his 50 years imprisonment at the age of 93 at the Castle Prison Center in Riverside County. The defendant, who is believed to be a married man, trial was triggered by an indictment obtained by government lawyers from the grand jury of Riverside County. The indictment claimed that defendant Sarah Bundles closely followed the two minors who have gone to ease themselves in a nearby dump site in Solotan, Riverside County. A follower alleged that the defendant convinced the two underage girls to follow him in a nearby bush where he sexually abused them, thereby causing them to bleed from their vagina. Following his alleged action, he rewarded the two kids with the amount of 1,000 Liberian dollars. Our judicial correspondent said the defendant alleged action was unearthed by the victims when they informed their mothers about the incidents and later presented the amount to her, which led to the defendant arrest by police and subsequent indictment by the grand jury of Riverside County. APN Terminals, in collaboration with the Port Authority, Thursday announced and launched a landmark achievement in maritime development with the official launch of nighttime navigation and the commissioning of a new port equipment at the Freeport of Monrovia. Speaking at the launch of the program, NPA Managing Director Sekou Dukle said the milestone marks the beginning of a 24-hour operations, urging a new era of efficiency and trade capacity. Dukle added that the initiative is led by APM Terminals Liberia in close collaboration with the National Port Authority and the Liberia Maritime Authority. He noted that the introduction of a 24-hour operations is a major leap toward the vision of building a world-class efficient port system for Liberia. He stressed that support transition APM Terminals Liberia in its investment $4 million United States dollars is a new marine and cargo handling equipment, including pilots and patrol boats, as well as risk takers. For her part, Brenda Gilbert, Chief Commercial Officer, APN Terminal, noted that the nighttime operations expand trade capacity, create room for jobs, and position Liberia for stronger global integration. According to Madame Gobia, the launching reflects the strength of public-private collaboration and the shared commitment to building systems that serve the people and enable economies to thrive. In brief remarks, Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn lauded the management of both APM terminals, describes the launch as goodwill of building, upgrading, infrastructure development. Vice President Kuhn pledged the government's commitment for infrastructure development. The Progressive Students Alliance of the University of Liberia has officially endorsed the planned July 17 protest organized by a group under the banner We the People in collaboration with Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand. Speaking at the event, ProSci chairman Justin Jaliba described the endorsement as a necessary step aimed at drawing national government attention to what the group considers serious governance issues under the administration of President Joseph Boakai. Jaliba criticized President Boakai, accusing him of misplacing national priorities, pointing to the recent reburial of former Liberian presidents Samuel K. Doe and William Aratoba and other Liberian statesmen. According to the student leader, spending resources on reburial ceremonies at a time of economic crisis sends out a strong or wrong message in the wake of the ongoing struggles many Liberians face daily, including inflation, unemployment, and inadequate public services. Jaliba emphasized that Liberia is currently grappling with deep economic hardship, which he believes is being worsened by widespread corruption and the lack of accountability in government. He further urged all Liberians, especially the youth, to come out in large numbers to participate in the planned protests to call on the government's attention on issues including economic hardship, corruption, and lack of accountability in government. Nimba County Representative, that's District 7 Representative Musa Belete, has fulfilled a promise by donating a brand new pickup truck to the Clara Hope Foundation and City of Hope Academy. The donation comes as part of Belete's continued support for educational and community initiatives in the country. The Clara Hope Foundation, established in honor of former First Lady Clara Marie Weah, is committed to empowering young girls through education and various development programs. In a statement released recently, Madam Clara Weah, the founder of the foundation, expressed heartfelt gratitude to Representative Belete for his timely and generous contribution. She described the donation as a significant boost to the foundation's ability to deliver on its mission, especially in reaching underprivileged girls across the country. Meanwhile, the new vehicle is expected to enhance the foundation's daily operations, including transportation, among other things. According to the foundation, the pickup truck will directly benefit the City of Hope Academy, which serves as a safe learning space for young girls. And the political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawan Gunglu, has endorsed the importance of selfless leadership in building a better future for Liberia. Speaking at the second anniversary celebration of the Reformers National Congress, Councillor Gunglu emphasized that leadership should be measured not by titles or position, but by the positive impact leaders make in the lives of ordinary citizens. He urged newly appointed leaders of the RNC to lead with commitment, honor, and a sense of national duty, especially in these critical times. For his part, the newly elected national chairman of the Reformers Congress, Daniel Dishiu, expressed dissatisfaction with the Unity Party-led government. He noted that despite being one of the first political parties to endorse the Unity Party during the 2023 general elections, the RNC has not been offered any meaningful role in the government. Chairman Dishiu called on the government to prioritize what he described as bread and butter issues that directly impact the daily lives of ordinary Liberians, as promised during the 2023 elections. He reaffirmed his commitment to strengthening the internal structure of the RNC and preparing the party for a more stronger and strategic role in the 2029 general elections. Also speaking at the event, Montserrat County District 1 Representative candidate Pee Wee Sano called on the national government to ensure a balanced and impartial justice system. He urged authorities to treat both former and current government officials equally under the law. Sano's comments come amid ongoing debates surrounding accountability and justice for past and present government officials in Liberia. The ship of the news bulletin, we take a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the newsmakers. Indeed, if you just join us, it's a reminder you are in tune to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes of accurate balance, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Friday, July 4, 2025. My name is Cornelius Johnson. One of our top stories this morning: House of Representatives ratify ECOWAS treaty on the establishment of Daga-Abidjan corridor to boost interconnectivity, economic growth, and cross-border cooperation. Let's now bring you the voices of the newsmakers. The University of Liberia College of Gender Studies and Interdisciplinary Research College has officially launched its Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy programs in Gender and Security Studies. The Master's and PhD programs in Gender and Security Studies will provide opportunities for students and professionals in these sectors to advance their careers through rigorous academic research at the state-run university. Speaking at the event, UL President Dr. Lydia Mapaya emphasized the significant role women played in peace building and security in the country. According to her, the programs will empower Liberian women, gain greater knowledge, and make impact, which will immensely contribute to gender-sensitive security practice. Here now is UL President Lydia Mapaya.
Today, we open a new chapter in the life of our 163-year-old institution with the launch of Liberia's first Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy programs in Gender and Security Studies. We at the University of Liberia, in collaboration with our partners, the International Academy of Gender and Peace in Nigeria, reaffirm our commitment to scholarship that meets our nations, our regions, and our continent's most urgent and pressing needs. Liberia, like many nations in the sub-region and on the continent, has risen from conflict and strives daily to consolidate and reaffirm peace. It is impossible for us to discuss security, however, without discussing gender. In Liberia, women have famously contributed to negotiating ceasefires, running refugee camps, and rebuilding communities. Yet, women remain underrepresented and underrecognized in security-related decision-making spaces, places where policy is shaped and where the meaning of security itself is defined. Our new graduate program in Gender and Security Studies aims to convert this historical lacuna into a site replete with gender-informed and gender-sensitive academic innovation and rigor, as well as transformative practice. Let me share with you why we believe that this new program matters so greatly to our beloved Liberia, as well as to our sister African nations. First, our new graduate program in Gender and Security Studies will bridge and blend theory and practice. Graduates will synthesize theoretical insights with field-based research and practical experience and emerge ready to advise diverse stakeholders on women empowering and gender-sensitive security practice.
At the same time, Professor Ahmed Abubakar Odi, Professor of Gender and Security Studies, who serves as inaugural lecturer, said despite efforts through legislation, National Action Plan, bridging gender gap remain a major problem in several parts of Africa.
You will perhaps maybe have time to read it very well. It's very rich. You will acquaint yourself with the global practice of how gender approach are being introduced in security sector, and then how if we involve women, we can really find a solution to end of violence in Africa. The analysis of the gender-based violence in Africa and the role of the security sector in either perpetrating or preventing such violence reveals the urgent need for systemic reforms. Gender-based violence remains a persistent threat across the continent, manifesting in various forms such as domestic abuse, sexual violence, harmful traditional practice, institutional neglect, despite efforts through legislation, national action plans, and institutional programs, the responses remain fragmented and underfunded and lacking in gender sensitivity.
Speaking on behalf of President Joseph Boakai, Dr. Augustine Conan, senior political advisor to the Liberian leader, expressed the president's deepest excitement in the newly launched master and PhD programs in gender and security studies.
The president is delighted to endorse the launch of the Master of Science and PhD programs in gender and security studies, as proposed by the President of the University of Liberia through the University of Liberia's Board of Trustees. These programs mark a significant milestone in the University of Liberia's journey towards excellence. They will enhance the university's reputation in gender and security studies while addressing the human resources development needs of our country.
He's Dr. Augustine Conan, senior political advisor to President Joseph Boakai. Earlier, listened to Professor Ahmed Abubakar Odi, professor of gender and security studies, and UL President Dr. Lydia Mapaya. They're speaking. The Civil Society Advocacy Platform of Liberia says the reburial of Presidents William R. Turbert and Samuel K. Doe must not be limited to political symbolism, but rather extended to 150 people who were killed during the 1979 Rest Riot and the estimated 250,000 others who died as a result of the Liberian Civil War. The platform's Secretary General Adaman Dempster said survivors from the Rest Riot and the victims of the Liberian Civil Wars are still bearing the scars of the conflict with all reparation paid to them.
For reconciliation to be meaningful, it must transcend political symbolism and include the stories, pain, and demands of ordinary citizens suffer as a result of the back-to-back violent civil war during the Liberian conflict era. Furthermore, reconciliation cannot be exclusive to political elites, especially those who have long contributed to Liberia's suffering. If former leaders are welcomed home as symbols of peace, then the families of victims and survivors of atrocities and communities must also be acknowledged and included. Those who suffered during the 1979 Rest Riot, where over 100 peaceful demonstrators were reportedly killed while protesting the hard increase in price of rice. These citizens were buried in mass graves, and to this day, their families have received no justice, no recognitions, and no reparations, including those who died or suffered due to the aftermath of the 1980 coup. The two Liberian Civil War between 1989 to 1997, 1999 to 2003, recorded over 250,000 deaths, characterized by rape, torture, recruitment of child soldiers, sexual slavery, and enforced displacement. While at the same time, some of the alleged perpetrators are accommodated to hold seats of power or positions in government, victims and survivors continue to suffer in silence. Yet, the path to justice remains slow. The efforts of the government to kickstart the conversation presents us with an invaluable opportunity to confront the painful chapters of Liberia's history, to acknowledge the immense suffering inflicted by the coup and the ensuing civil wars. The civil society, the human rights community believes this reburial is far more than it is imperative that the government takes bold steps to address the collective trauma inflicted by the civil wars. This includes supporting a reparation program for victims and survivors communities.
He's Adamant Dempster, Secretary General of the Civil Society Advocacy Platform. They're speaking. Well, with half hour past the time, indeed, you are listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes of accurate, balanced, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one word. Today is Friday, July 4, 2025. I'm Cornelius Johnson presenting stories stopping the headlines. University of Liberia launches first ever master and PhD programs in gender and security studies. UL President Dr. Lydia Mapaya said the program is designed to enhance greater impact in gender-sensitive security practice. House of Representatives ratifies ECOWAS treaty on the establishment of Dakar-Abidjan corridor to boost interconnectivity, economic growth, and cross-border cooperation. Civil Society Advocacy Platform of Liberia calls for reparation of survivors of the 1979 Red Riots and families of Liberian Civil War victims as means of holistic national healing and reconciliation. Away from home, Nigeria's two main opposition leaders have joined a new political party to challenge President Tinubu and his ruling party in the next election. Ethiopia says it has completed building a mega dam on the Blue Nile that has long been a source of tension with Egypt and Sudan. We take another break. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories right here on the program. Welcome back and thanks for being there. A faith-based and human rights organization, the Faith and Justice Network, has become a two-day deliberation on taxation, economic ethics, and justice for religious leaders from the Mano River Union in Monrovia. The deliberation, which is held under the theme Reshaping Financial and Economic Ethics, a transformative approach to justice, reparation, and accountability in the Mano River Basin, brought together over 50 religious leaders from Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and host country Liberia. In welcome remarks, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Faith and Justice Network, Bishop Samia Kuya, termed the gathering as a commitment aimed at challenging the entrenched systems of corruption, tax injustice, and illicit financial flows, as well as deep economic inequality that continue to undermine peace and development in the Mano River Union.
We are gathered here not as strangers from different nations, but as one people of faith, conscience, and shared struggle, committed to challenging the entrenched systems of corruption, tax injustice, illicit financial flows, and the deepening economic inequality that continue to undermine peace and development across our region. This campaign is a clarion call to repentance, restitution, and reform. FJN believes that systems can change, leaders can turn around, and nations can be redeemed. But only if we confront the economic and ethical injustices that have become too familiar in our societies. As churches and faith communities, we can no longer remain on the margins of fiscal debates. We must speak to how national budgets reflect moral priorities, how tax structures impact the poor, and how economic decisions align with or violate the values of justice and human flourishing.
Delivering the keynote speech, the Bishop of the Kakle Diocese of Monrovia, Gabriel Jigwe, encouraged policymakers to ensure that tax payment in members' countries of the Mano River Union benefit everyone, regardless of status in the society. The bishop of the Catholic Church said policymakers of those making more money should pay more contributions to taxes in order to ensure that the poor do not bear the cost of paying the rich in the Mano River countries.
Those with greater resources must be held accountable to contribute a fair share to the common treasury, embodying the principle of solidarity. It is important to advocate for progressive taxation policies that require those with greater financial means to contribute more significantly to the public coffers. Policymakers must take action to refine tax brackets and rates to ensure that the tax burden is equitably distributed, and the state must assume its role in equitably distributing the responsibilities of societal growth.
He's the bishop of the Catholic Church, Archbishop Gabriel Dukwe. Earlier, you listened to the chairman of the board of directors of the Faith and Justice Network, Bishop Samuel Quia. APN Terminals, in collaboration with the National Port Authority, Thursday launched a landmark achievement in maritime development with the official launch of nighttime navigation and the commissioning of a new port equipment at the Freeport of Monrovia. Speaking at the launch of the equipment, APM Terminal, that's NPA Managing Director Sekou Dukle, said the milestone marks the beginning of a 24 hours operations ushering a new era of efficiency and trade capacity. Dukle added that the initiative is led by APM Terminal Liberia in close collaboration with the National Port Authority and the Liberia Maritime Authority. Here now is NPA Managing Director Sekou Dukle.
The launch of the nighttime navigational aid at this port is one of the most meaningful developments in recent years. It means, like the speakers ahead of me said, a vessel cannot come in, discharge, and leave. What that means, I'll break it down in simple terms for you. Before someone sends goods or make a port call to Liberia, one of the factors that's considered most is, if we go to Liberia, are we going to be able to berth our vessel? Are we going to be able to discharge on time and leave? The answer has been no in the past. That changed today. What also made this port unattractive to the international business community has been the vessel wait time. Because when a vessel gets here by 7 to 8, 9 p.m., it's very dark on Anchorage. They cannot access the channel to come in, do business, discharge, and leave. So when you tell people, so let's go to Liberia, they say, no, I'm sorry, I can't make it out.
For her part, Miss Brenda Gilbert, Chief Commercial Officer, APM Terminals, noted that the nighttime operations expand trade capacity, create room for jobs, and positions Liberia for stronger global integration. According to Madame Gilbert, the launching reflects the strength of public-private collaboration and the shared commitment to building systems that serve people and enable economies to thrive.
This occasion is a powerful reminder that infrastructure is not just about machinery or concrete. It is about unlocking human potential. It is about enabling livelihoods, driving opportunity, and laying the foundation for a stronger nation. Since we began our operations at the Freeport of Monrovia in 2011, we have worked shoulder to shoulder with our Liberian partners to deliver meaningful and measurable progress. In 2017, we completed a major yard expansion that significantly reduced congestion, improved cargo flow. In 2022, we launched an ambitious automation and digitization initiative, strengthening operational performance and giving customers greater transparency and speed across the supply chain.
In brief remarks, Vice President Jeremiah Cohn lauded the management of both APM Terminals and National Port Authority, describes the launch as a goodwill of building, upgrading Infrastructure Development Vice President Kuhn pledged the government commitment for infrastructure development.
From Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, Senior President of the Republic of Liberia, whose vision for economic transformation remains unquestioned. The President recognizes the efforts of the National Port Authority and all partners who continue to support the expansion of the free port of Monrovia as a gateway to our thriving economy. The free port of Monrovia has long stood as a pillar of national growth. It is the largest, busiest port in Liberia, handling over 80% of the country's trade portfolio through import and export of essential goods and services. It connects our nation to global trade routes, facilitates commerce and services as a beacon of opportunity for job creation and private sector development.
The Progressive Students Alliance of the University of Liberia has officially endorsed the planned July 17 protest organized by a group under the banner We the People in collaboration with Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand. Speaking at the event, Pro-Side Chairman Justin Jaliba described the endorsement as a necessary step aimed at drawing national government attention to what the group considers serious governance issues under the administration of President Joseph Boakai. Jaliba criticized President Boakai, accusing him of misplacing national priorities, pointing to the recent reburial of former Liberian presidents Samuel K. Doe and William Aratuber and other Liberian statesmen.
I want to say to you here, ladies and gentlemen of the press, as we read the endorsement statement, I want to say to all militants will be posted, and we say, Progressive Student Alliance, PROSA, President of the Capital Hill, and over Liberia, Office of the Chairman, PROSA endorses the pending July 17 protest. When disciples of egalitarianism, pursuit of social justice, academic freedom and peace, the educated masses of our people, exploited plantation and mine workers, conscious students of the Republic, progressive members of the full estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with unwavering determination and a strong sense of justice, the Progressive Student Alliance of the University of Liberia stands as the only remaining voice in the youth and student community, a tireless fight for the right and well-being of the masses of our people. Our unwavering commitment to the defending the marginalized and upholding the values of liberty is the reason why we have never wavered in our existence.
The political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, has underscored the importance of selfless leadership in building a better country. Speaking at the second anniversary celebration of the Reformers National Congress, Councillor Gonglo emphasized that leadership should be measured not by titles or position, but by positive impacts leaders make in the lives of ordinary citizens. He urged the newly appointed leaders of the RNC to lead with commitment, honor, and a sense of national duty, especially in these critical times. Here now is Councillor Tiawan Gonglo.
Selflessness is the key to good leadership. True leaders do not measure success by the size of their motorcades, the cost of their convoys, or the comfort of their private jets. True leaders measure success by the lives they uplift, the schools they build, the clinics they stock. Yet today, we still see public servants rolling through our streets in long convoys of expensive vehicles worth millions of dollars, while in our own neighborhoods, children sit on broken benches in crumbling classrooms, and many public schools lack chairs, textbooks, and even teachers. Basic medicines for treatable illnesses are lacking. Women die in childbirth from one of simple medical supplies. In my view, this is not merely mismanagement. We can only succeed if we rise beyond our party limitations.
Away from Liberia now, Nigeria's two main opposition leaders have joined a new political party to challenge President Bola Tinubu and his ruling party in the next election. Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi have chosen the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as their new political home after breaking away from their respective parties, the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. This is one of the biggest shakeups in Nigerian politics since the end of military rule in 1999. And Ethiopia says it has completed building a mega dam on the Blue Nile that has long been a source of tension with Egypt and Sudan. Launched in 2011 with a 4 billion budget, the dam is Africa's biggest hydroelectric plant and a major source of pride for Ethiopians. Ethiopia sees the dam as a vital step to meeting its energy needs, but Egypt and Sudan see it as threatening their water supply from the Nile. In a statement announcing the completion of the project, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sought to reassure his neighbors. He said, to our neighbors downstream Egypt and Sudan, our message is clear. The Renaissance Dam is not a threat, but a shared opportunity. He said, to end this news, let's recap the headlines. University of Liberia's launches first ever master and PhD programs in gender and security studies. UR President Dr. Leah Mapayan says the programs is designed to enhance greater impact in gender-sensitive security practice. House of Representatives ratifies ECOWAS treaty on the establishment of Dakar-Abidjan corridor to boost interconnectivity, economic growth, and cross-border cooperation. Civil society advocacy platform of Liberia calls for reparation for survivors of the 1979 Red Riot and families of the Liberian Civil War victims as means of holistic national healing and reconciliation. Away from Liberia, Nigeria's two main opposition leaders have joined a new political party to challenge President Bola Tinubu and his ruling party in the next election. Ethiopia says it has completed building a mega dam on the Blue Nile that has long been a source of tension with Egypt and Sudan. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of King's Newsroom. Join us at 1 p.m. this afternoon for another edition of King's Newsroom. Many thanks to all of our contributors, editors, and reporters who helped in making this edition a success. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Cornelius Johnson. I presented. Many thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.